So guys, we have the Ohlins Coilover installed. This is how the car looks. It's lower, but we haven't lowered it too much to keep the ground clearance okay. I can lower it a lot more, but we do that for a track day. So that's how much clearance I have. It's pretty much a lot of clearance. I'm about 30 millimeters lower than the stock ride height. That's about 3 centimeters lower. So pretty decent clearance. As you can see, I have no front tires, so that needs to be addressed soon. This is almost like 99% gone, so trying to source some pilot sports. But yeah, overall the car looks really sexy when it's low. So now let's get in it and go for a drive, and we'll see how she performs. So you might be hearing a little bit of noise in the background. That's just, I got a lot of tools in the back. I'm going to the workshop to basically put in a shield that I had to remove when I put in the vibe brace. So shield के वजह से बहुत tools के वजह से you'll hear a lot of sound, so ignore that. So low speed driving over slightly undiluted roads, it's a little bouncy. I mean it's bouncy, I can say, in a good way, because you can feel the road, which was completely absent. But after a certain speed, the ride choppiness kind of goes away. And what I've seen is that the dampers, the fluid needs a bit of time to warm up. It doesn't like the cold too much, and it's still pretty cold in India today. So yeah. The other thing that's causing a little bit of the bounciness is that I've got two different set of springs. My front springs are softer. There is a 17 Newton meter spring, which is I think 7 kgs per millimeter spring. I'm not very sure how that translates into kgs. And the rear is a 80 Newton meter spring. So why did I get the heavy rear spring? Because Ohlins gives me the option of mixing and matching springs from their various kits, and they can even do a custom spring if I want to. I chose the rear spring, which is 80 Newton meter, because it stiffens up the rear a lot, and that extra 10 Nm of spring stiffness can allow me to get away without having to install a rear sway bar, or an upgraded rear sway bar. So right now I'm on the factory rear sway bars, and I intend to keep the factory rear sway bars as long as I can, because I will not be installing sway bars as individuals. I'll install them together so that the car's roll center remains same and the roll control front and back also remains same. So with the heavier rear springs, I have less of a issue with body roll. So, and as a result, I can avoid getting the rear sway bar for a long time now. In terms of handling, oh my god, this car, even with the shit front tires, is like it's on rails. I have barely any front grip. I'll just show you if I kind of accelerate and brake hard, my ABS kicks in. That's how little front grip I have. And I know I have to change the tires. Kar dunga tire change. So that'll help. But even with the complete lack of front end grip, the steering of this car has gone tremendously sensitive. Now I actually can feel everything that is happening in the front wheels. Every small road bump. It's not a bad feeling, it's not a jarring feeling, but you can sense the movement in the front wheels, and that's coming through to the steering, and it's very, very good. It gives me a lot of more confidence as to how the front end of the car is behaving, how much grip it has, and it can tell me exactly when I'm about to lose grip or when I'm about to go into an understeer. So that's a huge relief. That has got to do with the suspension and also the camber tops. So basically what I did was, normally in your car, the assembly which connects your suspension to your body is made of rubber, and that rubber acts as kind of an isolator. It removes a lot of the vibrations that come in through the suspension out of the chassis. Now, while that is good for a Corolla or a Camry, where Uncle G might be going to office in with Ram Bhaiya driving, but for a car which is driven on track, that camber plates, what I've done is I've replaced that rubber top mount with a metal top mount. Obviously has a small rubber isolator bushing in it, but beyond that it's metal, so there's a direct connection between the suspension and the shocker and the spring and the top mount. Also what that helps is that it allows me a lot more steering feel, and because these are slightly offset, meaning that they're not exactly centered, they're actually more inwards, so my front camber should have gone up. It's about 1.7 right now because of the lowering and the camber plate, so I have much more front grip. So when my car is in a corner, I'm not rolling over to the side of the tires, and the grip, the contact patch of the front tires is increased significantly over what it was in stock. I mean, if you look at it by millimeters, centimeters, not that much of an increase, but even that little increase in added camber makes your steering a lot more precise and allows you to really throw the car around without the front end giving up. Okay, somebody decided to come. Okay, sorry. So areas where if I had done that in the stock suspension, my ESP would have kicked in and kind of sorted the car out. But with this suspension, no issues. The best part about this is that the dampers are also adjustable, so I can adjust how soft or how hard I want the suspension to be. And this is a 20-click adjustable damper, so you have 20 different settings, and unlike most other suspensions in which you really can't figure out the difference between one setting or the other, this car is very, very evident. Every click you can noticeably feel the damping increase or decrease. So right now I am in the back, I think at about 15 or 16 out of 20, and in the front I am at about 15 or 20. I can go 5 clicks more, make it really soft, and I've done that. It feels really nice, but you lose you get a lot more comfortable ride, but you do lose a little bit of this sharpness of the steering that I really like. So I'm used to driving on coilovers, so I love coilovers because they are a suspension unit in which the shock and the spring are designed to work with each other, and it allows you to adjust the height, and if you get a really good coilover, it allows you to adjust how hard or how soft your shock absorber is. So for me this is perfect. I can literally feel every little imperfection in the road in a good way, not in a harsh way, but you know that yeah, you're going over some rough terrain, and it's very evident. I can't wait to try this one out on track, that the car is so much more balanced. The front and rear weight distribution should be about 55, 60, 55, 60 and 40 in the back, but that we can change because the coilovers allow you to use the springs to raise and lower the car to change the front and back weight distribution. For that I need a different machine called a corner balancing machine. We don't have that here, and hopefully someday we'll have it here, and that will really allow me to fine tune the setting of the coilover. Now that was bad road. Now this is smooth road. In the smooth road there's nothing. It feels beautiful. It feels better than stock because the damping is so good. So the Ohlins their dampers are world class, and they have something called a DFV, dual flow valve technology, some patented technology that they use, which allows the car to be very nice and comfortable over slight undulations, yet when you throw it into a corner it cancels out and becomes very stiff. So it has the best of both worlds in that way. So I'm really loving this. I mean, look at this. This is about a week old tarmac and perfect, and this is actually more comfortable than stock because the dampers are such that they iron out the harsh bumps in the road while not removing all feel from the front end and the rear end. Okay, we're in traffic now. So right now the plan is that I'm gonna wait for get new tires. I'm still debating on what tires to get for this car because 18 I am limited. I would like to get 235 section tires, but they're a little hard to come by in India and the pricing is a little off. 225 I have the option, but I honestly like to get a little wider because right now I have the extra ability, I have the extra grip patch thanks to the camber plates, so the car behaves a lot better and I can exploit that extra contact patch without burning it out on the curves or anything. So yeah, the tires next. In terms of feel of the car, what I've realized is, with the addition of the suspension, all the chassis braces that I put in so far, the front subframe brace, the rear Y brace, the rear subframe brace, the X brace, everything, you can feel it. You can really feel it. I think the stock suspension, because of its softness, because of the sponginess of the springs and the dampers and unrefined dampers, a lot of the feel of the car that was increased thanks to the chassis braces was not fully evident. But with the coilovers installed, I can feel the chassis braces doing their work. The rear is planted. I mean, I have taken this car with the shit tires for a test drive on some very, very high speed corners which I wouldn't even think of taking in the stock suspension, and the car just said, give me more. I mean, I'll do a video on that also, how good the suspension holds. But I mean, trust me when I tell you this, the car feels like it's stuck to the road, especially in hard corners, in tight corners, in high speed corners. I mean, I can enter a corner almost twice the speed that I would earlier without the car even squealing from any tire. What has also become very evident is that when I put the car in VRS mode or sports mode, which then the differential becomes really active, you can now feel the differential acting. That is a huge plus for me, because with the body roll, the differential kind of was there, you could feel it's there, but the effect of the differential was neutralized to a certain extent because of the soft suspension of the car. And well, soft I wouldn't say, unrefined would be a better word. And after lowering the car, after lowering the center of gravity of the car, after stiffening the suspension up in a good way, the body roll, I mean the differential acting is very, very evident. You can feel the car in sport mode, the car pulling into a corner rather than pushing out. So you can really feel the differential working, which is a very, very good thing. So right now there's traffic. I'm going to